How's everybody doing? Okay, so I wanted to do a quick video on how to serrate a blade. Now, I'll knock some stuff on the floor. I've already started on this, it's just a little custom stock removal EDC for a friend of mine, and he wanted a pretty much full serration on the top edge. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to show you guys how I'm going about this. And there's nothing special about it aside from maintaining a consistent depth and fairly consistent spacing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to not hit myself in the crotch with this, with the handle on my post vise. And if you guys would, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now I've got two files here of different sizes, and what I have is I have a this is they're both chainsaw files essentially. I'm just going to show you guys what we got there. Okay, so it is up to you, or perhaps a customer, on what size you go with for your serration. But the first thing to do is to have a clean edge and to cut down into that edge. So, one, you should always have a handle on your file so you don't stab yourself with it. In this case, I don't, so don't do what I'm doing. Just, you know, keep it safe. So your first pass or so, you want it to be relatively light because you want to start creating that serration or that groove and unidirectional with the file when you do this, okay? So what that means is don't saw back and forth. You want to stay consistent with your cut. All right. And I got to even a couple of these out just a little bit. But I'm going to continue to go along and to continue to serrate this. While I do that, I'm actually going to drop this down so maybe you guys get a little better view of it, okay? Once more, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I appreciate if you do. Tell your friends, share it out on social media, all that fun stuff. So next, I'm going to go in with essentially about an 1/8 inch file. And I'm going to start cutting my groove. Now this one, I'm not running as deep as the larger file, which is approximately, let me compare it. I'm going to say about 3/16 of an inch. This is 1/4 inch thick stock, so I'm just kind of eyeballing to get an idea. There's going to be some of you who go, oh, it's X amount of millimeters. And yeah, they tried to teach me that in school and never got into the metric stuff until I got into motorcycles, and then, primarily metrics. So I'm alternating my files as I go down what would be the spine of the blade, but is actually the top edge on this one because it is double-edged. Now, I'm not going to completely finish this out yet because you may notice that this is cutting really easy. It's because this steel is quite soft. This is 1095 high carbon, but I've heated it in my forge and I've allowed it to cool so that it is a bit softer and a little bit easier to work. And I'm getting a fairly even and a desirable serration. Now I'm not going to run clear to the tip. There's actually going to be a very short section that is essentially false edged. But I would highly recommend if you are cutting your serrations, to do it while the blade is relatively soft versus after heat treat. And I'm just going to even it out as I go. Now, this is only the first part of cutting my serrations. Once I get this even across here, I'm going to have to turn it essentially 90 degrees and go in and cut the bevels inside each serration. I'm not a huge fan of making serrated blades, but Danny's a good guy, and he said, "Hey, I want that top edge serrated," and I said, "Okay, I'll do it for you, man." Now, if I was doing this on hardened 1095, it would be a lot more difficult. But I'm just going down through, putting a serrated, sawtooth essentially, and I'm going to see. I may do one more after this. I'm not for certain. I'm going to see what I turn out here. And guys, I'm going to be totally honest, I want to do one more. So probably end on this larger file, so the larger serration. And I'll be heat treating this in just a few. But there you can see that serration, and this is how the customer ordered it, so that's what I'm going to do. There will be a little bit of a residual edge on the what would be the points of the serration, but will be more flat. And then I will come in and I'll be cutting the serration here, which is also likely to make those flat points a little more pointier. So there you have it. Next, I'm going to get a piece of angle iron and some clamps so that I can hold this at essentially 90 degrees from where it was, and go through and start cutting those. Once more, appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel. More videos on firearm reviews, knife reviews, blades in general, forging techniques, and how you too can make your own knife. Be sure to check out Forge Memory, Forged in Fire, Master of Arms. We only ran one season of that on Discovery, but hell, you can still see me on it. Made a flintlock axe pistol. Looked a lot like that. And be sure to check out an upcoming website, Forge Memory Family. We'll catch you a bit later. God, that would have been cool if I'd ended that right. You guys have a great one.